Hey guys, I know you don't have much time, but here are the 5 bad looking but deadly gambits you never knew existed. Number 1, the modern gambit. I personally popularized this gambit last year. Let me know in the comment section down below if you do remember. So the modern gambit actually works against both e4 and d4. Say white starts with e4. Your idea is to go g6, and after pawn to d4, you go pawn to f5. This is bad, but trust me, it works. The most logical move here is to take, after which you simply go pawn to d5, letting white take your second pawn, and then you take back like this. What else? The most common move in this position is bishop d3. Why? Because white is just taking advantage of your very weak pawn on g6, right? Now here is where I came in. Instead of focusing on defending this pawn on g6 or protecting it somehow, your plan is to go queen d6, protecting that. Why queen d6 is good? It also prevents the dark squared bishop from occupying the f4 square. Knight f3 will always be met with bishop g4. Done. Let's see how that goes. Queen d6. The top played move is knight f3. Then you go bishop g4. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but most of your opponents are going to be responding with pawn to h3, forgetting that they can't even take the bishop due to rook takes. So what to do? Go knight c6. At best, you just want to castle long as quickly as you can and start attacking on the king side. With this gambit, we just prevent white from castling short, because if they do that, they oftentimes face the wrath. From here, most of my opponents play pawn to c3 since knight c6 attacks the d4 pawn. Pep. And now this is when you can go pawn to e5. This is just how the gambit goes, by the way. And these are the main ideas. Queen d6, bishop g4, knight c6, pawn to e5. Given a chance, you want to develop your dark squared bishop on h6, not anywhere else. And then your king's knight is usually developed as follows. Either knight takes h6 and then knight f5, or knight e7 and knight f5. Anywho, after pawn to e5, white is gonna take, after which you take back like that. See, the knight is under attack twice. So most of your opponents are going to play something like bishop e2 and pinning their knight. And guess what? This is when you realize there's some real threat on e5 and also an indirect attack on your light squared bishop. So you want to get rid of the light squared bishop, and after bishop takes, you simply castle long to overprotect your d5 pawn. Next, you have moves like pap. Now guys, look, I've won a lot of games with this one gambit, so I know what I'm talking about. Most of my opponents castle short by now, but the thing is, at least we have a clear plan to attack on the king side. We'll put our king on b8. I love starting my attack as follows. First, I go bishop h6, challenging the dark squared bishop on c1. Point is, if bishop takes happens, now I take back with my knight. The whole idea is for me to have a clear plan. Knight d2, g5. The plan is to go pawn to g4. Rook e1, g4. Nothing else white can do apart from pawn takes. And now I pave the way for the queen by playing knight f7, and it's just a matter of time before checkmating my opponent. If you want to learn more about this gambit and how to win games very quickly, watch this video that has popped up in the card above. You will thank me later. Shocking gambit number 2 that actually works, the Williams gambit. Shame many people don't even know about this. This is mostly suitable for blitz and rapid chess. Even bullet. You begin with pawn to f4, which is called the bird's opening. At the moment, most people respond with pawn to d5. And now this is when you can go e4. Point is, if black takes what appears to be a free pawn, you quickly develop your light squared bishop out of the upcoming pawn chain like this. Bishop c4, but the top played move in this position is knight f6. This is what you will see most of your opponents doing. Maybe they want to follow it up with bishop g4 and pawn to e6. Who knows? After that, I always remove pawn to d3 and knight e2. How? Pap, without even thinking, I go knight e2, especially in online games. This is to create an impression as if I just hanged my knight or I became impatient. When this happens, just know you are winning due to bishop takes f7. Oops, our queen casts the foul, so the black king can't actually run. There is only one valid move, which is king takes f7, and this is how most of your opponents are going to be losing their precious queen. Let's go back. The Williams gambit can also arise from the Scandinavian. Yes, you can do this to surprise your Scandinavian opponents by simply offering them that pawn for free. I mean, there's no point for them not to take. So if this happens, quickly go bishop c4, and start thinking of removing d3 and knight e2. That's how you're going to be winning most of your games. So after knight f6, the top played move, also trying to hold on to their extra pawn in advance. In case of knight c3, you just go pawn to d3. Sometimes your opponents might follow it up with bishop g4 immediately, knowing that you can't play knight f3. So you just go knight e2 either ways. And the moment they take, like pap, that's when you play as fast as you can the move knight c3. Again, this creates an impression as if you just hanged your knight. If that happens, just know you're winning the queen one more time. The only valid move is king takes, after which you grab the free queen. Don't try this at home. But it works. If you want to learn more about the Williams Gambit, simply watch the video that has popped up in the card above. I guess you guys didn't even know that I have a lot of Gambit videos on this channel, which is why you have all the reasons to subscribe and share this video if you can. The more you subscribe, the more you encourage me to deliver more beautiful stuff. Let's move on. Third dubious gambit you never knew existed but actually works is the from's gambit. Yes, coming from the word from, as in I'm from India. Oh, I'm from the Philippines. I'm from New York City. In this case, I'm from Zambia, the home of the mighty Victoria Falls. For some of my American friends out there who are soccer fans, you might have heard of Barbara Banda, Patson Daka, or Kundananji. That's where I come from. Right, the from's gambit arises from the bird opening. Pawn to f4. So let's say your opponent wants to play the Williams Gambit. Maybe if you play pawn to d5, you can surprise them too by going pawn to e5. Look at you! This is called the from's gambit, or simply the from gambit. Anywho, white usually takes. Then you offer them another pawn, which is the d pawn. They usually take it as well, because I mean, it's just a free pawn, right? Now this is where most people mess it up. They play bishop takes d6, which is what white players actually expect to see. Never underestimate the power of the bird opening, by the way. Let me just take you back a little bit. If you don't play pawn to e5, oftentimes games will be leading to the stonewall attack and all those boring lines where the game just ends up being solid and closed with no many attacking opportunities. So the from gambit is what even most grandmasters play if they want to neutralize the bird opening. This performs well even at the top level. You can check the master's database. Instead of taking right away, play the move knight f6, which transposes the game to the long-held gambit. Point is, after pawn takes, you simply take back with your queen, and you're going to see most of your opponents responding with knight f3. But that's when you want to go bishop d6. Let me show you how funny this can be. In case white plays a lazy move like knight c3 or even pawn to g3, you can simply take on g3 and checkmate them like that. Anywho, you're not going to see that happening most of the times. The top played move is pawn to e3, after which you can simply go knight g4. With knight g4, it is now clear that you're going to get back one of your pawns. Remember that you're down by 2 pawns. White has 7 pawns, you have 5 pawns, but the whole point is to be way ahead in development and just ruining the pawn structure of the bird. They should not play the bird opening. We should control the game. Again, if white plays pawn to h3, maybe not wanting to lose that pawn, you simply go bishop g3 check. And after king e2 only move, now you go knight f2. They are going to lose the queen or the rook. In fact, after queen e1, you can take that. This is an attack on the queen. Queen d1, you go back, queen e1, knight takes. Look at that. Queen d1, knight f2, queen e1, then finally knight e4. That's what the engine suggests. But you know what I can play at human level? Queen takes c2. Because if knight a3 comes, that's checkmate. Why? Unfortunately, I haven't yet made a full tutorial on the from gambit. If you want to learn more about the from gambit, let me know in the comment section down below, because I mean, this channel is dying slowly but sure. Based on the viewership I'm seeing, there's not much support thanks to the new subscribers. But also ensure to watch all of my videos in order to support this channel. Fourth dubious gambit that actually works, but you never knew about it: the improved wing. I call this the madman's wing gambit, which you can play against the Sicilian defense, especially in rapid, blitz, and bullet. I'm not sure about classical, but I guess it can work depending on your skill level, because it's full of tactics. e4, black responds with c5. Trust me, this will be new to most of you guys. You go pawn to b4. It won't be the normal wing gambit. After black takes, you give them the second pawn, which they will most likely take because it just looks absurd. Now it is here where most people take back with their bishop, sometimes with their knight, but I advise you to take with a rook. Why? See, well, because you just want to give up your rook. Like this. What are we doing? Now here is the catch. This is called the Carlsberg variation, by the way, not a very bad opening if you know what you're doing. Pray that black takes your rook, cause bishop takes a3 comes with tempo, controlling this highlighted diagonal. When this happens, just know your next sequence of moves should always be something like that in those lines. The only move that prevents this is pawn to s6, but I have a full tutorial on this covering the s6 line and how to challenge that. The top played move anywho's is knight e7. People just want to cast a shot and call you a bluff. This is where you can go knight b5. So always think of playing knight b5. And what do we see on lichess? People usually cast a shot, and now they start questioning your intelligence. It is here where you want to remember to go bishop d6. Knight d6 will be a 1-0 move. You are not attacking anything. The king is on g8. That won't be a check. So you better go bishop d6. It comes with a hidden idea. Point is, if black thinks they can chase your knight away with s6, now you go bishop c7. See how easy that is. Queen e8, knight d6. That's how you trap the queen. And at that point, you may as well shout, why? Let's see what else black can do after bishop d6. Instead of pawn to a6, you might see others playing knight a6, still preventing bishop c7. I still remember looking at this line. I think you can go pawn to d4. If black gives a check or something like that, you have c3. It's not much of a stretch. Sometimes they go rook e8 to unpin their knight like that. Now you have knight f3, simple development. Another move you're going to see them playing due to lack of activity is pawn to b6, wanting to develop the light square bishop. Now it makes sense for us to go bishop d3 to meet bishop b7. And once we cast a shot, you can tell from the eval bar, despite being down a rook, we are still doing better and we are not worse. So it's just a matter of technique. You can know what to do. Sometimes people play knight g6 in this position, but after knight g5 there are some many questions. Pawn to h6, you can even sacrifice your knight. After king takes, you go queen h5. It's all about activity, by the way. Sooner or later we're going to win this. I mean, it's just a matter of time. So take a look at this position. The point is, yes, we are down a rook, we are down an exchange, but at what cost? Black doesn't have activity. That's the most important thing. So whatever you're going to do, as long as you do the right thing, positioning your pieces on their most potential squares, black will always find themselves with a cramped position and no play at all. They may try moves like bishop c6, but after pawn to e5, I mean, it's just game over. They can try to hide, but again, queen takes g6, look at that. Say, what if they take? Well, there's a mate in 2, pep, and bishop check. That's mate. If you want to learn more about the madman's wing gambit, as I call it, watch the video that has popped up in the card above. You can also find all the full videos in the comment section down below. Last dubious gambit, which you never knew existed and that it actually works, is the von Popiel gambit. Although I call it the Alpine Dimmer gambit, and you will see why. It works against both e5 and d5. As you're going to see, you can start with pawn to d4. By the way, this also works against the French. Anywho, if black plays pawn to d5, that's when you can go pawn to e4. They will always take. And now you can simply go knight c3, as if you want to get back your pawn. Why this is so good? Well, because most people are going to play knight f6, trying to hold on to their extra pawn, right? And now this is where most people kind of mess it up by going into the main line, Black Madima, which almost everyone knows, with moves like pawn to f3. That's awesome, but I introduced to you guys the von Popiel gambit with bishop g5. On my own, I call this the Alpine Dimmer gambit because we still have an option to play bishop a3. Story for another day. With bishop g5, we are waiting for black to play something like bishop a5, trying to hold on to their extra pawn so that we can take. So it's all about taking, right? And after ef, guess what? You now give up your d4 pawn by playing queen e2. Why? Okay, the point is, if black takes what appears to be a free pawn, now you go queen b5. And 3 of black's pieces are under attack. The bishop, the king, and the b7 pawn. So if they play a careless move like knight d7, you're going to win that bishop. They play bishop d7 and start laughing at you. But now it is the rook which is under attack. They play bishop c6. But now you have time to develop your light square bishop to pin the bishop to the king, so they can't take your queen. The rook is still under attack. Well, they play queen b6, but it wasn't about the rook, it was about check. So they play king e7 only move, but it wasn't about the king, it was about castling. Well, point is, if bishop takes, the simplest is to go knight d5 check and win the queen. You also have queen d8, that works, but knight d5 I love. So they are not going to do that. You can see in most of these gambits, what we are trying to do is cramping our opponent's position, which is good. I love seeing my opponent suffering. I don't know about you, but I and my family love punishing people in chess. If you want to learn more about the Von Popiel Gambit, watch the video that has popped up in the card above. Again, you can find all the links to the full videos in the comment section down below. By watching those videos, you're simply supporting this channel. And hey, do me a favor, don't keep these videos on your own. Don't hide information, you guys. Sharing is caring. That's how we grow this channel. I stopped making these kinds of videos because I came to discover that most of my dear subscribers were not sharing these videos because, I mean, they just want to keep these things to themselves and surprise their opponents, which is good, but it doesn't help the channel. So want to support this channel, do the right thing. Share this video to a wider audience. Subscribe if you haven't already, and that's it. And hey, if you really care about this channel and want to see us grow, click the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to turn on the bell notification icon for all my content. That way you won't miss any of my future uploads. Lastly, to get this free study PGN that I'm using in this video, simply scroll all the way down to the comment section and click the first link that you see, which will redirect you to a page before getting this PGN for free.